Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of What's So Funny, a show that talks about the funny with the people who make it happen. Now, you're in for a treat this week as our guest has done it all in the world of comedy, but really it's his true passion for General Hospital that keeps this aspiring game show host on our radar. But also, he's never not funny, it's Jimmy Pardo. And of course, we have your host, a man so happy for this pandemic because it lets him dry out after being high on life for so long. It's Guy McPherson.
Thank you, Sam Tonning, and we are honored to have Jimmy Pardo. Now, Sam, you said aspiring game show host. He is a real-life multi-game show host.
Well, yes, but with in the early 90s, the aspiration was there and it's still strong.
I guess. Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jesus Christ, I panicked. I don't know who I'm talking to. Guy. I was gonna say Guy, and then it sounded rude, like I was just calling you Guy,
Hey,
like
Guy.
one of those guys. Hey, Guy, how you doing, Guy? Listen, Sam, just admit you're wrong on this.
Oh, I will. Absolutely.
I've hosted many a game show on television, and yes, I don't know what I don't know what PR sheet you looked at from the early '90s that when I was an aspiring game show host, it's just 30 years later.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
It is a fact, Jimmy.
It's a fact.
1990. You said your long-term goal is to host a game show. And talk about living your dream.
Absolutely.
I am very, very listen, here's the thing, and I will quickly bore you. I've been very lucky in that when I was in high school, my dream was to work at a record store. I then worked in a record store. When I was working at the record store, and this is, by the way, this is in addition to the dreams that we all have of, I'm gonna be a famous movie star one day. I dreamed of when I was at the record store, I dreamed of working for a record label. I ended up working for MCA Records for a couple of years. While I was doing that, it's like, oh, if only I could quit this and be a comedian full time. Well, I did that. And then while I was doing that, I was like, wouldn't it be great if I ended up hosting game shows one day? And then I did that. So it, and then I said, as a young boy, wouldn't it be great if I could host a popular podcast? And nobody knew what I was talking about back in 1978. And luckily, it came true. So I'm it's to your point, Guy. I'm very, very lucky. And the only other correction I'm going to make, Sam, is that sadly I've left my love of General Hospital is no longer. I left them a couple of years ago when my favorite character. This is literally I sound like a housewife in the '70s. When my favorite character left, I also went. You know what? I think I'm going to leave too, and I never went back, even though I'm sure
Who
it's
was
still
the
great.
favorite character?
His name was Patrick. He ended up coming on my podcast, Never Not Funny. Jason Thompson, and he. I just loved his character, and so when he left the show, as much as I loved other characters, it was like, yeah, you know what? This seems like a good time to cut bait on this.
Wow.
How many years did you give it?
That's
Oh,
amazing.
I listened. I watched it from. I got addicted when I was going to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in 1986. So I became addicted in '86. Then I watched it through maybe 2000, and then I gave up on it, and I came back around 2010, and then bailed again around 2017.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Good
Yeah.
7-year run to get all caught up from the years that you missed prior to that, I guess.
And if it's anything like a soap opera, in those 7 years, I think I watched 3 storylines because they just keep they drag it out so long. And I guess in this world that we live in now, where things need to happen quickly, stuff was not happening quickly enough for me at General Hospital, so it was time for me to bail.
It would be easier now, I bet, to watch you just set your PVR and boom, you burn
Yeah.
through them.
That's a great point. Maybe you know what? I'll revisit. I'm in, guys. I'm back in on General Hospital.
Excellent. Now you talked about your goals and achieving them and wanting to do comedy, but what about acting? Because you were quite the thespian in your younger years.
You know, it's I look, my manager and other casting people will disagree with this. I don't think I'm that great of an actor, so I don't really pursue it like I should. I really been pursuing the hosting stuff and like that for the past 10 years. But my like I said, my management's always like, we got to do more acting auditions. You're good. You know, when you audition, you get jobs. And I so hate the audition process. In fact, the last couple of roles that I had, which are a long time ago now, maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago, they were offer only, where they called my manager and say, hey, we want you to be a part of to do this role. Is he available? And boy, if you can cut out the audition, I'm in, because I'm not a good auditioner.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Who
really that.
is?
Nobody is, right? It's horrible. You know, and I apologize for this run-on sentence, but the great actor Ty Burrell, who was, of course, on Phil on Modern Family,
Yeah.
when he was on my podcast, and this is ages ago, this has to be 10, 11 years ago that he was on, and he was talking about how lucky he felt that he got that role because as an actor, the worst thing in the world is to audition, and they want you to come in, be prepared, be comfortable, know the material, feel like you own the room. It's like everything is set against that happening. It's like he's never felt more uncomfortable than when he walks into an audition, and so to me, any actor that says, "Oh, I love auditioning," you're lying. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to your family. You're lying to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you got some good write-ups for your acting,
I did.
starting with Play It Again, Sam, when you played the Woody Allen character in 1987. The paper said Allen himself would enjoy seeing himself portrayed by this clever young actor.
Um, wow, oh, Jesus, man, you guys did some digging. You know what? I was pretty good. Look, I don't know. I'll take that woman's word for it. I enjoyed playing that role. I played against Sam. I did a lot of community theater when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and so I enjoyed it. That was a fun role. So yeah, great.
And also, you played Arnold Nash in Send Me No Flowers the following year.
Mm.
And apparently, you stole some scenes.
All right, hang
Hmm.
on a second. Do we know each other? Why do you know all this? This is what
Oh yeah, no,
what
I don't know. Well, I did talk to you in 2008, but we didn't talk about this.
right, but I mean, like,
Uh,
this is one of those things, like, if it was Scooby Doo, you would pull a mask off, and you're a guy that I did theater with back in those days, because, I mean,
yeah,
that's
Michael Gandy.
Jesus Christ, you did some research.
No, I.
It, uh,
Well, let me
uh
give you this line too, also from "Send Me No Flowers,"
okay.
and this might apply. I mean, you're a fast twitch guy. They said if Pardo learns to pace his speech more slowly so every word is understood, he's a natural for more success in stage work.
You know what? Here's the thing. When that review came out, I remember being. I want to say that that reviewer's name is Gene Flazewski. Flazewski, is that possible?
It's possible. I don't know who it is.
How do you
Hmm.
find the quote, not who wrote it? It
I didn't write that part down.
I think her name was Jean Flajewski, and she was very nice, and she actually was very supportive of me. But when I read that review, I was so angry. It's like, why the negativity? Even though she's not wrong. I talk really fast. I slur most of my words. Everything she says is accurate. Yet I remember going, "How dare she say that about me? I'm an actor."
Plus, she did say you stole some scenes, which is a positive. But like a lot of comedians, you focus on the one negative thing.
Of course, and by the way, at the end of the day, even if you read that sentence, it's kind of a positive thing. Like if he could just pace himself better, he'll have great success. Uh,
Yeah.
and she's not. She also said once in a review that she said because I left community theater to do stand up full time, and then the particular theater company, the South Suburban Theater Guild, asked me if I would do one more show, and I went back, and by this point, I was making my living doing comedy for a couple of years. And in the review, she said. Jimmy Pardo, who's oh shoot, uh, who's not vocation, avocation, whose avocation is stand up comedy, and it was like I made my living doing this, and
Mm.
I got mad at her again. This poor woman who's just probably making $10 an article for a local newspaper, but she was very
Oh,
nice. I
was
wish her
that
luck.
the gazebo? Was
That was
that the
the
gazebo?
gazebo. Yes, it was.
I don't know that play.
It's
But I'm a big community theater fan.
how do you find stuff about the gazebo guy? Um, it
I know you also did Bleacher Bums
I did.
and Soapy Murder Case
I
and Come Blow Your Horn. You played Buddy.
I did play that, that was probably my second favorite, then the gazebo would be 3rd, and then the other ones all fall in line, but,
Yeah, that was a Neil Simon one, Come Blow Your Horn,
it was
right?
great. That was with, the aforementioned Mike Gandy played my brother. He had the lead role, and I was the supporting role, and, um, it was fun. Those are community theater's fun. It's, you're with people that, you're with mechanics, you're with secretaries, you're with bank tellers. It's, I was at the time when I started working at a record store, and so it's fun to be around these people that that are talented, but it's not. At the end of the day, it's not real show business, but it's still fun.
Yeah, but I mean, you were clearly good at it, and you then went immediately to stand up comedy. And like you say, you've done some auditions and stuff, but it wasn't a goal to act, even though you did a lot of theater.
I did do a lot of, but I did a lot of community theater. I never had the guts to go and audition for any equity or anything like that. And like
Mm.
and like you said with the audition, like I ended up being on Becker, and I did I did an episode of Monk, and I did True Jackson VP, which was a really fun kid show. So I mean, I did some stuff, and I probably would do more if I auditioned, but I just again I don't. I get so stressed out about it. I was stressed out about
Mm.
this. So this
Well,
conversation.
absolutely, as you should be. Monk was filmed in Vancouver, right?
It was not, if it was on a regular basis, I don't know, but my particular episode, or at least my scene, was filmed in the Hancock Park area of Los Angeles.
Interesting. Certainly, the first two seasons were filmed here. Those are the seasons that I watched.
Interesting. That's interesting. I did not, to quote Dana Carvey doing Johnny Carson, I did not know that. That impression's 3 deep, Sam. Um,
That's the best impression of Carson. I
it's,
love Carvey.
if I could just slow that impression down, guys, imagine the success I would have as an impressionist.
Oh, you're natural.
Shut up.
Yeah, so this is like an episode of This Is Your Life, Jimmy Pardo,
It
isn't it?
it kind of is from one very specific time in my life. Yes, it is.
Until your big break when you became the host of the KJ Riddles comedy show.
Oh, shut up. Did KJ Riddles was a comedy club that opened up about a mile, not even a mile from my house. In fact, I could walk to it. It was the greatest. And so I was the house MC there for a summer.
Oh, they didn't film that?
No, 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 no,
The
no.
newspaper made it seem like it was gonna be like a variety type show and you were the host.
No, I just was it was a brand new comedy club that opened up in Orland Park, Illinois. And in fact, I think I know the article you're referring to. His dream is to be a game show host, but first he's hosting at KJ Riddles or something like that was the is the uh
Mhm.
but no, that was just a stand-up gig. That's all that was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll edit that part out for sure.
Sure.
I don't wanna make myself look bad.
I wouldn't.
Folks, this is your host, Guy McPherson. I'm just interrupting in an effort to save face. February 24th, 1994 issue of the Southtown Star wrote KJ Riddle's comedy stop, 15750 South Harlem in Orland Park, is producing its own cable TV talk show, The KJ Riddle's Comedy Show, hosted by local comedian Jimmy Pardo, to be aired on Jones Intercable. And now back to our regular programming. But uh, yeah, of course, you are a podcasting legend. Great show started in 2006.
That is correct. In fact, what are we coming up on the 15-year anniversary coming up in March, I want to say.
Well, you count your anniversaries different because I read that it was like, oh, the seasons. That's right. 26th season or something.
Yeah, we after the second year, we did 1 year of shows, then a second year of shows, and then we decided to go to these seasons where and kind of replicate TV. And so 2 seasons a year, I think, is how it works out to be those numbers. I'm not 100% sure how it works.
Are they specific set number?
Yes,
And then you go, boom.
26 episodes or 25. I think we take a couple weeks off throughout the years. I think it's 25 episodes. Um, so 50 a year, maybe, and then some other bonus episodes and so on and so forth.
People talk about you as one of the first, and certainly you were one of the first. Who else was out there then?
When we first started, and I think it's because we cared. We were using professional equipment. I of course I had a decent career as a stand up. People knew who I was a little bit, and so when Matt Belknap came to me and we started it, we took it very seriously, and and it sounded good. So we got successful right away because to long-windedly answer your question, there weren't a lot of professional shows out there. There were a lot of guys just using like the microphone from their computer and talking about, "Hey, I just got the new Game Boy, and it looks seems to work okay." And then people go, "Oh, that's a podcast." Um, so when we started on the comedy chart, it was us, Ricky Gervais,
That's right. He
and
had.
The Onion, and the three of us would
Mhm.
rotate the top spot. Like so, one week we'd be the number one podcast, then Ricky would be one, and then The Onion, and then Adam Carolla came in at one point, and then Marin, and then Scott Ackerman's Comedy Bang Bang, And then eventually now, of course, I think my dad is about to start a podcast. I believe everybody has one now.
It's mandatory. That's right. We started this one 2004.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Well, I think it's because you're in Canada, nobody cared. So that when Pardo came around in 2006, they went, "Now podcasts can take off." I think
Well,
that's what happened.
yeah, yeah, and still nobody cares, but we do it
Oh,
anyway
sorry.
because we love because we love it. But yeah, we've been on the air since 2004, and we are
Interesting.
also on Co-op Radio,
Mm-hmm.
and that leads us
Wow.
to our special cold read portion of the show. If you could read that for us, Jimmy.
Oh, sure. Hey, this is Jimmy Pardo, and you're listening to What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio.
Wow, you got that
You passed
voice.
the audition. Yeah.
I
Well,
think you'll.
thank you, gentlemen. That was cold. I mean, I'm not usually a good cold reader, so I was happy to have said all that without slurring or stuttering or messing up one of the words.
Well, our second cold read later in the show is always more difficult than the first one. This is a good warm up for you.
Okay, good. There were not a lot of R's and L's next to each other. That's where Jimmy usually has trouble with his diction.
Oh, really? Kind of like a Tom
Yeah.
Brokaw?
Yeah, I do have a little bit of that Pennsylvania there was an announcer here named Ross Porter for the Dodgers for a long time, and he kind of had that same thing. And so I always say Ross Porter whenever I have that trouble. I'm like, who am I, Ross Porter? And upwards of 0 people know what I'm talking about.
Ah, I've known you since before 2008 when I interviewed you for the paper up here, and I've not known you, but known of you. And but what really made me think, oh, we got to get Jimmy on this show is your latest video on Yacht Rock, and that's because my man Sam here is a an expert on Yacht Rock.
I love it. Love it to
You,
bits.
so Sam, let me ask you a question, and I believe
Please.
that Guy is going to lead me to this at some point. What do you think of the term yacht rock in regards to this music that you seem to have an affection for?
Well, I consider myself the Antonin Scalia of yacht rock in that I'm an originalist. I follow the yacht rock guys. What they said is yacht rock without deviation.
Oh
So
God!
I know we disagree big here, and that's
Oh my
okay.
God! Do we disagree big on this?
Yeah, there's no interpretation.
Sam, I can't. God damn it! This conversation's over.
I know, it's ridiculous, right? They go in, they make a great series of 5-minute videos for a comedy competition, and then it takes off. Then they're kinda bound to it, right? But, when you get given a job, you deliver, and it's
But
important to follow through.
I think there. I just. My problem is that, like you say, that they think they can decide what is yacht rock and what is not yacht rock,
Yes,
just based on what session musicians played on certain songs. Just because Michael Landau played a guitar on a song does not make that yacht rock if it's not yacht
that's
rock.
absolutely correct.
So that's my biggest flaw with what they deem to be yacht or not.
Mm. Mhm. I assume we both have spent a significant amount of time on that website, yachterandyacht.com, but, um yeah, I don't know if the musicians necessarily make a song, yacht or not, neot. But I think it's important to look at. I don't know. I just feel that I'm going to defer to the experts, self-appointed though they may be.
But they're not experts, Sam.
Well, nobody's an expert, right?
I don't know. You know as much as they do. I know as much as they do. Again,
Probably. Yeah, absolutely.
they're just 4 dudes that sat around drinking Heinekens one night and wouldn't it be funny if we put on little sailor hats and made fun of Michael McDonald? That's what
Oh,
happened.
Are you saying that they don't actually like yacht rock? They're making fun of it?
I believe that they initially were making fun of it, yes, and they have rewritten
absolutely.
history to where they now claim that they had a love of it. And by the way, maybe the first guy did. Maybe the guy that was listening to it was liked it, and then his buddies busted his balls, and then they decided again to put on the sailor hats and ascots and make fun of it. That's my guess.
Yeah, I like it, but I never even knew it was a genre until Sam told me yacht rock, and I go, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And then I listened to, Apple Music has Yacht Rock Essentials. I listen to it. I go, I like these songs. I know them from when I was a kid.
It's good pop.
Well, I think it's great pop, and it is what I grew up listening to as well, Guy. And I love the music. I love, it's we called it AM radio. We called it the West Coast sound more
Mhm.
than anything else. And
Mhm.
I find the calling it yacht rock for some reason. I think a lot of guys my age and give or take 5 years on either side, yacht rock kind of comes off as a pejorative in that
Yes.
because it was steeped in these ironic videos calling it that. So therefore, labeling it yacht rock, which I know is the easy way to go now, um, it just kind of seems negative as opposed to embracing the genre of
Well,
music.
I mean, yacht rock is a widely understood term now, as opposed to, and I don't refer to it as that. I use smooth rock. That's
Right.
it's pretty much what I think of it as. Is it's pop smooth rock from the '70s, early '80s. That's a better descriptor than yacht rock to me.
I think so too. In fact, I don't know if you're familiar with the syndicated show Yacht Rock Radio that Adam Ritz
Yeah.
hosts. Um, He and I have discussed it too, and that whole Thurston Howell the third vibe that yacht rock has somehow gotten just seems unfair. It seems unfair to the musicians. It seems unfair to the people that like it. Um,
Yes.
now that said, I did go see the Yacht Rock Review in concert where they were dressed up like little captains from the Love Boat, and um, you know what? I had a good time. Everybody there was wearing their little costumes and having a good
Yeah.
time. Because at the end of the day, those songs are terrific. And that's the bottom line. Those songs are
That's it.
great.
Yeah.
So who cares what you call it? Just enjoy it and don't get mad if some guy goes, "Well, that's not really yacht rock because it doesn't have that doobie bounce." Shut up. I like it and it fits into this genre.
Well, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'll let other people do that. But
Well, sure. Trust me.
yeah,
I
you must have got it.
the yacht rock minions have come after me, Sam.
Yo, I can imagine. It's amazing. Or like the hedge fund people. Well,
Yeah, except
whatever.
I didn't make any money out of it, or lose money. I didn't lose any money. We're making
Well,
money.
I don't even know what GameStop is because we're in Canada.
Wait, is that true? You guys don't have GameStop there?
Yeah, not that I've ever really seen, but I don't go hang out at malls anymore.
Well, I
See, I
first
go
heard of
there.
it in our last episode when Sam used it in reference to his introduction to me, and I had to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Much like I did with Yacht Rock back when he first mentioned that term.
Wow, guy, why don't you know anything?
Well, that is a very good question. I know facts about community theater from the 80s.
Well, that's true. You do know that. That
Yeah.
seems to be something that's right on your radar. Yeah.
Hey, your top 5 list of, I mean, you love making lists, right, Jimmy?
I don't know if I love you know what, I guess I do because I used to put out and when I say put out, I used to sit down at a typewriter and write my top 25 albums of the year and then put it in a file somewhere. So I don't know who I was, submitting it to or dispersing it. Um, so yes, I do like making lists. So which is why when I came when Jimmy's Records and Tapes made the change from the first season we did, I went year by year, just kind of highlighting an album and a song that came out a certain year, and then season two happened. I was like, let's do this top five thing. Top five, I got one coming up. You guys might enjoy. Top five Canadian acts is coming up soon.
Oh,
Ooh.
can you give us
Yeah.
a hint? Or can you
Well,
spoil
here's
it?
what I did.
Keep
Here's
in
what I
mind, nobody listens to this.
Mhm.
Well, I hope not, 'cause otherwise I'm gonna be found dead with a Michael McDonald CD slid across my throat.
Oh, if
Based
that's what it takes, right?
based on my hey, listen, I'll give you guys the pub. If I get beat up, I'll give you the pub, so that
Okay.
you can get some listeners to see how
Thanks.
it originated.
Thank you.
Uh, for the Canadian show, my 5 Canadians, I start out by saying, "Let's all just accept Rush is number 1. Let's just accept that. Let's accept Rush and Neil Young are the top. Now let's go with the 5 after that."
Good.
So that's kinda how that starts.
Yeah, and I guess maybe they're well known in the States. I don't know. But if you discount Rush and Neil Young, then you're actually helping people discover some new bands. Maybe.
I
Mhm.
guess that's kinda what I was thinking, Guy, but I'm not 100% sure that my 5 are helping anybody discover anybody. Maybe
Oh.
Saga
Okay.
would be as close as that would come.
Sagas, what a great
I don't
band.
know them.
Uh,
Again,
Oh,
something else I
wow.
don't know.
oh, they're great. Saga's,
Yeah, great rock.
prog rock, great stuff. Michael, Sadler on vocal is great, and the Creightons, they're a good band that literally got no due. Sam, it sounds like you enjoy them.
I do. The musicianship is top notch, and I think anyone, if you heard of them or not, you can immediately connect with like, oh, this is a good band,
Yeah.
right? And it's in a kind of hard to digest genre, though, right? Prog is never widely appealing unless you're
It is,
Rush, but
in fact, I have an episode coming up of the, top 5 prog rock songs that sorta kinda made the charts is another upcoming episode, and, so, yeah, I'm with you. It is even I'm even a fan of prog rock, but boy, it can sometimes just be noodling and tiresome and
yeah.
self-indulgent. Um, yeah, and Saga, you know what? Saga's guilty of that too, as is Rush, as is Pink Floyd, is it all prog rock.
Oh, for sure.
Well, so you don't spoil it by telling us, but when will it be out? Your top 5 Canadian band.
You know what? I don't know the answer to that because this week it came out. It was top 5, or not 5. It's not top. It's my fave 5 because I'm not
Mm.
suggesting these are the best 5. These are my 5 favorites. Um, so this week was summer songs. Very timely here in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think Canadian songs. If I look at some sort of a, I think it'll be a few weeks down the line, maybe a month away. I think.
Oh, we'll look forward to that. But so would Hot Heat be on that list?
They would not be. They would not be. I guess the other thing to remember is that Jimmy Pardo is very much in the classic rock world.
I,
So
how about the
very rarely.
Sheepdogs?
No, again, the Sheepdogs would not be. I don't know them. Are they classic rock?
Yeah, they're like Southern rock. They've like U.S. Southern
Oh,
rock. Um,
hang on. I'm making a note of that then because I'd
so
like to put up a Confederate flag and be a hillbilly for a minute.
the
Whoa, even in
Sheepdogs,
2021?
they were on the cover of Rolling Stone when they came out, and Ewan Curry, the lead singer, has been a guest on this show twice. Of course, the lead singer
Wow.
of Hot Heat has been on this show 5 or 6, 7 times. So
Okay.
I'm
Well,
just asking you, and how about odds? The odds,
no, but you know what? I will tell you something. I just did a Never Not Funny fan said, and I forget who they were comparing them to. But they said, "Hey, if you like blah blah, you will love the odds," and sent me a bunch of links to their stuff. And I will admit that I've not done a deep enough dive, but what I did sample, I was like, "Oh, that guy wasn't wrong. I love this guy. This band."
oh, that's great to hear. Craig Northey was a guest on the show, and he's the guy in odds. There's no the, by the way, and he also wrote the theme to Corner Gas. I don't know if you've ever seen Corner Gas, the great,
I have not, but I am familiar.
yeah, and another guest that we've had on this show, Joel Plaskett. You might like him, maybe you won't.
Uh, yeah, I'm not familiar, but I just wrote it down per your suggestion.
Okay, great. And a good friend of mine has gone back. He's a huge Jimmy Pardo fan, and he has gone back and he's listening from the beginning, re-listening to all your podcasts. And that's a lot of
Well,
podcasts. That's over 1,000,
it's
right?
it is over 1,000, but you know what? I'm hearing that a lot, that, people are, because I think we just took it out from behind a certain paywall. It's
Ah,
now behind
right.
another paywall, but I believe what we're doing now, it makes it more accessible to listen
Hmm.
to the back catalog, so people are getting a lot of people saying that they, are, revisiting the beginning, the opening days where you will hear us. The beauty of listening to Never Not Funny from the beginning is you will hear society and how we talk to each other change, and the words that we use that were once acceptable, that are, well, they, by the way, they never should have been, but words that were once okay to say are no longer, and you hear the change throughout the years of Never Not Funny. It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Now, Guy, I haven't heard Sam for a while. Did I piss him off with my yacht rock talk?
Oh, goodness, no.
Okay.
No,
He
no,
is
no piss off at
sensitive. He
all.
is sensitive.
I'm very sensitive. I mean, you have to be sensitive to literally have a Christopher Cross tattoo.
Oh,
Wait a
But,
that's
minute,
right.
you
He
do?
does.
yes,
So do you
prominently
agree with
on my
me?
left forearm.
Now, so what do you have? That little flamingo-y guy that he uses?
Exactly, yes.
Sam, listen. I apologize for snapping at you earlier. I had no idea that you inked yourself.
Yes, I had to. Well, I didn't do it myself, I paid someone, but
Of course.
yes,
What
yeah.
else do
I'm a
you have?
big, big Christopher Cross
Oh,
fan.
tell him your other
Very
ones, Sam.
Oh, my other one, Jesus. I have, tattoo that says, "Hey now," because my first love was the Larry Sanders Show.
Sam, you'll enjoy this. My 12-year-old, well, now he's 13, but he was 12 when he binged the Larry Sanders Show, and
Perfect age.
so he walked around the house. No matter what no matter what anybody said, his response was, "Hey now,"
Oh
and
man.
just like a
Yeah.
12-year-old should. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that should
Exactly.
be um, the way. So Christopher Cross was my number one yacht rock
Yes.
song.
Yeah,
Ride
and
like the wind.
on that "Ride Like the Wind" is a great cut. I think it works really well as a heavy metal song as well, as done by Saxon.
Did Saxon do a version of that?
They did, yeah, in the '80s too, and it kicks ass.
Why don't I know that? Because I actually did like. I can't pull it. What's the album? Denim is in the title.
Oh god, I'll have to look it up. It's been a few years, but
Shoot.
yeah, I wanna say like
Uh,
Leather and Denim or something.
Yeah, I liked them at the time, and I should have known that, and it angers me. So, see, I'm learning something, fellas. This is good. This is a good day for me.
Yeah, I hope you're
But
taking it all down.
Um, I
I
will
was
also.
looking
I don't know if you'll find this interesting or not, Sam, but I have a full face tattoo of Dan Fogelberg on my thigh.
Seriously.
wha
No, of course not. No,
Oh,
it'd be ridiculous.
well,
It would be insane.
we know someone who has a full face tattoo of Shelley Long on her thigh.
Oh,
That's
That's
whoa,
right, yeah.
comedian Kathleen McGee. Yeah.
Kathleen McGee as Shelley
that is
Long and
wow.
who else? I
Full
forget, but
face,
yeah.
the full thigh too.
And so is she a fan of that Beverly Hills Troop or Cheers? Like, why
Yeah, good question.
Shelley Long?
That's a great question. We'll have to ask when we get her back on the pod.
Well, it has to be
Yeah,
Cheers. I mean, but then
Has to be.
boy, oh boy, that's interesting.
and a
Uh,
Gilda full face tattoo as well.
Gilda, I understand Gilda. By the way, I think Shelley Long's terrific. She came on my AMC show, Movies at Our House. She was a guest once, and could not have been nicer.
Yeah,
And
she
it was one of
seems
those where everybody warned us, "Hey, Shelley can be prickly. Shelley cannot be pleasant. Shelley cannot be fun." And she was 100% the opposite of that. She could not have been more game to play. In fact, she was only scheduled to do a couple of segments, and they asked her to stick around, and she's like, "I'm having a great time. I'll stick around." So. Now, do I go get a tattoo of her? No, I don't. But she was very, very nice.
you bring out the best in people. Have you had the opposite where people say, "Oh, this person's great," and then they're not?
Boy,
Ooh.
that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. Of course, I'm sure that's the case. Um, I can't pull one at the moment, though, Guy. I apologize for not being able to give you some sweet, sweet gossip.
Well, we've got another half hour, so if it comes to you, you jump up,
I'll
tell
just,
us.
I'll just jump in. I'll jump in
Hey,
with it just with some random name.
Sam, do you have any other tattoos?
Yeah, I also have a tattoo of George Smiley
Yeah.
from Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy,
Oh my
Oh, big
specifically
John
the
le
first
Carre fan.
mission. Big John le Carre fan. Yeah, it was yeah, had that.
What a
Oh,
well-rounded guy.
I love spy fiction, Gary Shandling, and smooth rock.
Here's my opinion. I loved the Larry Sanders Show, but I believe that it's Gary Shandling show was superior. What do you think,
I
Jimmy?
think
you,
you're wrong.
I know you think I'm wrong,
I
Sam.
well, here's the beauty of this. This is where I win Sam back. I 100% agree with Sam.
Mm.
I think
Okay.
it's fine, and it was funny,
Yeah,
but I think Larry Sanders Show, just, not unlike Veep, it just nailed it, and I think it'll be in people will watch it for, eternity. I think my
Yeah,
son
yeah.
will turn his kids onto it like I turned him onto it.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, also, you look at a show like Veep. Would Veep have been? I don't want to say possible because, of course, it's possible. But would Veep have been as it is now without Larry Sanders?
I don't think it would've. I
I
think
don't
Larry
think so
Sanders,
either.
changed a lot of things, and,
It was huge.
in fact, we were just talking about Veep last night here, my wife and son and I, about how, um that, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, was a star of 2 of the most iconic sitcoms of all time with
Yeah.
Seinfeld and Veep.
Yeah,
Like, people will talk about those shows
absolutely.
for decades.
She had one in
Well, it has
between
been
that wasn't
decades.
as good.
Well, she had 2 in between. She had Ellie, I believe it was called, which was not that great, but the New Adventures of Old
Old
Christine, or The
Old
Old
Christine, yeah.
Adventures,
Christine, yeah,
That
that
was
was really good.
oh,
Yeah,
yep.
that one's good. Guy, did I lose you? Did you not have
He's
any
I,
of
in
that?
I
shock.
stand corrected.
Well, I liked it. I thought it was really good. It was the other one that wasn't, which is why when she and Jason Alexander and Michael Richards, they all had a sitcom right after Seinfeld. they called it the Seinfeld curse because they all three of them failed. But then she went on to the Oak Christine, which was really good, and then she was out of it. And
Mhm.
then here comes Veep, and look out.
Yeah, man,
Yeah, that
she is nasty in that. Everyone is.
And by the way, if you want to take 20 minutes out of your life, there's blooper reels on YouTube, and with them using like just being in the scene and using different insults for the scene. And I forget the one character's name, the one that would always insult his buddy and make him kind of a cuck. Um,
Oh,
I can't,
yeah.
but
Johnny
Dan?
or Dan?
no, it's the other guy, the a congressman or something.
Yeah, Jonah.
Darn it. No, it wasn't Jonah.
Oh,
He's on these blooper reels, and just with insult after insult that they didn't use that are just it's worth watching for 20 minutes. You'll laugh nonstop.
I will do that for sure. Hey, getting back to my buddy who's revisiting all the Never Not Funnies, because back in the day, you could listen to the first 20 minutes, I think it was, and then you
Yeah,
had to pay.
we did a thing where when we decided to go to a pay model back in 2008, before the comedy podcast boom happened, we um we thought that that was smart. Like, hey, we'll give 20 minutes free, and then if you were that interested, you could listen. And it did. I don't know if it really paid off. I think we just ended up pissing people off more than anything else. But luckily, enough people just jumped in initially from our
Yeah,
subscriber
yeah.
base that it was able to work. But I don't know if that 20-minute free thing. I think I kind of thought it'd be like a pusher selling dope, and you get them hooked, and then
Yeah.
they're certainly going to keep paying for the sweet heroin. And I don't know if it ever paid off, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah. But look at you now. How many years later you're still doing it? So you
Yeah.
got the fans. But anyway, Dean has given me a list. His dream is to make you a Spotify playlist and of
Okay.
Canadian bands. So I'm going to list these bands and see if you've heard of them because he wanted to fill in the blanks for you. Sloan. Give me an opinion if you know any of these. Sloan?
Uh, Sloan, Sloan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna write it down. I don't know Sloan. Again, I'm a classic
Probably
rock guy. I know, and I've even mentioned this on Never Not Funny recently. I've accepted that I'm the. When I grew up, there was a guy in my neighborhood that was just he was all in on the '50s. Man, he had the rolled up T-shirt, he had the
Hmm.
jeans, he had the slick back hair, and this was in the '80s. And but he was all in on it. And I think outside of wearing a costume of parachute pants and having a flock of seagulls hair. I'm an '80s classic rock sort of.
mm.
75 to 90 is my genre. So anything out of that is out of my wheelhouse, and I don't know a lot about it. Admittedly, that's my spot, fellas.
I think Sloan had one record that charted in the States in the early 90s. But they're a great band.
So it's in your wheelhouse.
Okay, I've written it down.
Okay.
I've written it down,
Then
and I'm basically the fact that Sam and while we may not agree on the term and why yacht rock happens,
Yeah,
um, yeah, it seems like Sam and I maybe agree on music quite a bit. So I
I
will
think
certainly look
so.
that up.
5440.
Okay, 5140. Again, don't know. Don't do not
Five
aware.
four four zero four zero.
5440. 5440. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
5440.
yeah. He also mentioned odds, which we've talked about. How about Junk House?
No, I don't know Junk House either.
Headstones?
No. Okay.
Headpin.
Is this the segment where you make is this like it's now time to make the guest look stupid?
No, not stupid.
No, no.
We're trying to teach. We're trying to impart some Canadiana to you.
These are
Okay.
alternative rock bands.
Okay. Well, then, but
Yeah,
headpins?
and that's not who?
Headpins?
Come on, man. This
I think
is
it's a
just
bowling reference, right?
Frozen Ghost? I've never
yeah,
heard
you
of
know what?
them.
I tried Frozen Ghost, and I never got on board with them, and I recognize that they're good, but they just weren't. They didn't tickle me like I wanted them to. Is
All
that a
right.
good phrase?
Only two more. Barney Bentall.
No.
I'm not familiar with him. I know the name though. And of course, a band I really like, Pursuit of Happiness. The Pursuit of Happiness.
Um, okay. Again, I appreciate all this, and I'm taking the time to write this down. Make no mistake, this paper will immediately be shredded. Um, but I have written it down to commit to an audio only podcast, so that people know that I'm actually writing it down. Here's the other thing about Dean making this Spotify playlist. I'm not on Spotify. I don't. So him making that list doesn't do anybody any good.
Okay. The Pursuit of Happiness had a song, and we managed to find it, and I can't find it anymore. But when we had Bonnie McFarlane as a guest, they wrote a song that mentions Bonnie McFarlane.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah, it's right off the top. There's different verses of different people, and she's the number one. She's the first one, and I don't know if they've scrubbed this from history or what, but there's a song out there that the Pursuit of Happiness wrote about Bonnie McFarlane.
Well, I'm gonna look that up too because I like Barney. Who's Barney? Who the hell's Barney? You said the word Barney a second ago, didn't you? A guy's name?
Oh, Barney
Okay, good.
Bentall. Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Well,
good. I thought,
have you, Jimmy, ever heard of the band Chilliwack?
of course, gone, gone, gone. Been gone so long. Been gone, gone, gone so long.
They're a Canadian band
They're
from Chilliwack.
from
Yeah,
Chilliwack, that tip to you.
baby. Yeah, sure, I know those guys.
Oh, they're a good Canadian outfit.
Yeah, they like I like a lot of Canadian music. While he does not make my top five, I even like outside of three songs. I think Brian Adams is flawless. I think he's got a great catalog.
Good pop. So I a yacht rock, two Canadian yacht rockers,
Okay,
that I think you probably have heard of, given your love for the ill-named genre. Mark Jordan,
I don't know Mark.
Marc
Yeah, I do. I do know
Jordan,
that now. Go ahead.
yeah, and David Roberts. Wow,
Hmm.
Okay.
two great Canadian yacht rockers.
Well, of course, David
What do you
Foster was in Chicago.
and
David Foster was with everyone.
Yeah.
uh well he produced Chicago and wrote some songs. He
Yeah.
wasn't in it. Let's not get
Well,
crazy,
I think
guys.
he
He's
wasn't he in it?
no,
No,
he
he wasn't in
produced
it.
it.
One
You're talking to a
iteration. He
Chicago
played the
superstar.
piano in it.
Well, I mean,
Well, doesn't mean he's
plays
in
on
the
the
band.
albums, 16 and 17, maybe even 18, he plays a little bit on, but, he was not in the band, although he saved their career.
Mm,
You gotta
okay.
give him that credit.
All right.
Mhm.
Sam, where do you feel about Chicago being part of the yacht rock? Do you think If You Leave Me Now should be on any compilation?
No,
Good.
I don't, and I'm okay with that because it's too hard rocking, and I love hard rock, right? But I find Chicago not a fit.
I don't think they're a fit either.
Like, I
I
love
just
Chicago 16.
I
Great
think
record.
Chicago I mean, I think Chicago 16 maybe could be, oh, maybe that's a little yacht rocky. And that, by the way, Chicago 16 is my third favorite Chicago album of all the albums.
And that's a lot of records to choose from.
It is. It's Hot Street, Chicago 2, then Chicago 16. And
Ah,
in the Chicago world, boy, they don't like when I say that. They anything after Terry Catherine has to wear socks. No, it
yeah,
doesn't.
I
You're
mean,
being a child,
shut up, right?
right?
I mean, it's the same as AC/DC fans who think Bon Scott's the only singer that matters.
It's like,
And I gotta say, here's my controversial opinion, and I just gotta be out with it. Axl Rose was a better singer for AC/DC than Bon Scott.
wow.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion.
I don't know enough about. I haven't seen enough clips of Axel singing with them. I know he sat on some sort of throne. Did he not?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that's oh, man, yes, he did because he broke his leg,
Right, and
but
he borrowed Dave Grohl's throne, right? Or did Dave Grohl borrow his? Anyway, there was some transfer of throne. No.
I don't know about that. I never saw them live, but, yeah, I just the clips online, but, no, I agree. I think
Sam, let
the
me ask
Terry
you
Kath
this.
argument's wrong.
Do you like the phrase, "transfer of throne"? Do you like that at all?
I think that's a great genre of music that
I'm gonna
we
write
should define.
I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah, I think that would be worth exploration.
But by the way,
You
I
know
wrote this down on the same list as all the bands you listed, so imagine me now Googling for 6 hours later, "transfer of throne," and wondering why I can't find anything.
Listening to you, Jimmy, talk about your third favorite Chicago album, it reminds me that Sam, you might know this, like Kevin Fox joke. You learn a lot being a parent, like your fourth favorite color. Um, like
That's a
to have a
great joke.
third favorite Chicago album.
Yeah,
That's boy, I'm jealous of that guy's joke because that nails parenting. God blast it, that's a great joke.
He's a great comic from Vancouver, Kevin Fox. Uh,
I'm sure I met Kevin, and I feel badly that I don't remember him, but I drank a lot in the '90s.
Dean also was struck. You talk about how language has changed. If you go back listening from the beginning, he was struck
Yes,
by how confident you guys were that Trump wouldn't win, and that
dude.
a good Canadian, Scott Thompson, set you straight on that.
Did he? I don't remember that.
Well,
Oh yeah. Oh,
he
that's right. He
listened.
did.
He listened to your arguments and then told about Rob Ford being elected
Right.
mayor in Toronto. Yeah.
Well, I hope Scott's happy that he was right. I'm sure he gloated for 4 years. Um, yeah, there was never boy the episode that we recorded on election day 2016. You hear five dudes that are just so confident that Hillary Clinton's going to win and Trump is going to get trounced. You just it, it's almost like we're doing a parody of five guys that weren't there. It's crazy how wrong we were, man.
It's time for our second cold read of the night, if you will.
Hey, everybody, this is Jimmy Pardo, lead singer of Rainbow Bridge and host of the podcast Never Not Funny. You are listening to What's So Funny, or as I'd like to call it, Always Not Funny, with Guy and Sam on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co op Radio.
Ouch. Oh, is not funny. Yes, that's our new name, Sam.
Why do you make me say that? That's unfair.
To make you look like the bad guy and us
I
the
know shit. Why
underdogs.
do I lose in this? I just swore. I apologize.
That's okay.
You may. This is Canada. So does your son, he's 13 years old now, and he loves, hey now, does he also love your type of music, or does he rebel against you in any kind of way where he's doing his own thing?
You know what's interesting is so far when it comes to, he's very big into the Marvel and DC world, which Dad is not interested in. But musically, he is on board with my stuff. And I don't know if this is just him growing up in a car that played it nonstop, but he will prefer Styx over Billie Eilish. And so when the kids, when they were able to go to school, when the kids would play the new music, he was like, "Dad, we're playing this music and it's garbage. We got to get home and listen to REO Speedwagon." Like that's what he is into. So yeah, long-windedly again,
Nice.
more what Dad likes than what's current.
Yeah. Although, 13 now, he'll start really rebelling in a few years, I guess.
I'm not looking
Maybe.
forward to it, but yeah.
And your wife, she also likes that music, or does she just tolerate it?
Oh, my beautiful wife Danielle, she tolerates it. In fact, when I brought her to the most recent time that I dragged her to see Chicago, uh, when we were in the car afterwards, she's like, "You know what? I get it. You don't have to bring me to these anymore." It's like, okay, fair enough. I did take her one time to see the band UFO, and that I don't live that one down. She brings that one up. She's like, "Oh," she goes, I forget what we were in a conversation with like other couples. She's like, "Yeah, well, have you ever been dragged to see UFO?" And it's like, well, that ends every conversation because she wins,
I just Googled UFO right now, and the lineup of the band has Vinnie Moore as the guitar player
and
right
he's
now.
great.
He's one of my favorites ever. And it's like one of the greatest shredders who doesn't get talked about enough. But
And
there we go.
he doesn't really shred when he's in
No,
UFO, which shows his versatility.
exactly.
He's really good. And UFO's had more members than Chicago has. I mean, they
Yeah.
the two guys have always stayed, but they they're fantastic unless you're my wife, and then it was the longest hour and a half of her life.
Common for many wives, right?
I think so. And I did go see Green Day with her once, and I'm not a big Green Day fan, but I ended up thinking it was a pretty good show. I went to one show of hers in 20 years. It is ridiculous on how kind she's been to join me on many of my concerts, and how she'll say, "Hey, do you want to go see?" I can't even. Who was the other one that she liked? Damn it, I have it right in front of me. I apologize for not having this at the tip of my fingers, and it's going to drive me bananas. Who is it? It's Green Day again. She's going to see Green Day and Fall Out Boy if that ever happens. And she's like, "Do you want to go
Ah.
with me?" And like, well, that seems like one that you should bring a friend to. So she ends up going with friends to the shows that she likes, and I drag her to the ones that I insist that she
Hey,
sees.
now, your wife is the daughter of a famous Star Trek actor. Were you a Trekkie? Were you a guy who liked Star Trek growing up?
I was not. I watched Star Trek on Sunday mornings because it was the only the alternative to Mass for shut-ins. Um, you either watched church on Sunday mornings on TV when I grew up in Chicago with the 3 channels, or they would play Star Trek reruns, and so I would watch Star Trek, and that's the only thing I cared about. I never saw any of the movies until I had to for a TV show that I hosted. And so when I met Danielle's dad, who was Chekov in the original Star Trek, to me,
Hmm.
I was just meeting another girlfriend's father. The only exception was this one has his handprints at the Chinese theater and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That's the only difference between him and the other parents I've met over my lifetime.
And he had those handprints when you first were dating Danielle. They were already there,
Oh,
or
yeah,
did
they
that
were
come
there. I
later?
think
Yeah.
they did those, like, I think in the '80s, they put their handprints in, and what's interesting about the handprints out in front of the Chinese theater on Hollywood Boulevard is they rotate out certain squares, and there are certain ones that they leave there all the time, like Marilyn Monroe and people, icons like that, and the Star Trek one is one that never gets moved either. So he's always there, which is really, really cool as far as
Yeah,
I'm
very
concerned.
cool. I'm going to make a connection now to him and you playing Woody Allen and play it against Sam. Can you guess what
Okay,
that
what
would be? So Woody Allen's real name is
boy, I don't know the answer to that.
Alan Stewart Konigsberg.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Walter, how do you pronounce it?
Koenig.
Koenig. His family's real name is Königsberg.
So do
I
you
think it's the
think
same name,
well, let's,
right?
you know what? That'll give me something to talk about at the next, family function.
Yeah. Are you related to Woody Allen?
I'll say that. I'll go, "Hey, I can't believe it's taken me 22 years to ask you this, but are you?" And then he'll say, "No," and then, we'll go back to eating our food in silence.
Are you you're not going to visit during the pandemic, are you?
We have done, where, when it wasn't as bad, we would go to their house and sit about 10 feet away from them outside for about
Right.
7 minutes.
Hmm.
But that's it. No, in fact, my beautiful wife is right now bringing Walter and his wife to get their vaccine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's it's kind of an
Perfect.
exciting day here around the house. Danielle's been texting me with updates, so they are just pulling in as we speak to wait in line to get that vaccination.
That is great. I can't wait till I get it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Uh, and I can't tell from your voices, but you guys seem like maybe you're in your 40s. Is that accurate?
I'm a little older than you, Jimmy. And Sam is
Oh,
much younger. Sam is in his 30s.
I
oh,
am.
boy, you guys both have wonderful voices. Wonderful voices.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are they doing it by age up there for you guys as well?
I think, yeah, age and occupation.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Same here.
So
Yeah.
comedians are last.
I disagree. You know what? America needs to laugh again. So I called Joe Biden last night. I said, let's get the comics vaccinated first. That's more important than teachers and frontline workers. Let's go. Right? People need to come out and laugh. So
Yeah.
get us vaccinated. Let's do it. And he wanted no part of it. And at the end of the day, I think he's right.
You mentioned in your promo for our show that you were the lead singer of Rainbow Bridge, and we should just mention that that was your high school band,
Yeah. By
Rainbow
the way,
Bridge.
I didn't mention that. You forced me to read that. I did not just bring it up out of nowhere. Um,
You're always talking about it. No.
You know what? As I mentioned on Jimmy's Records and Tapes quite often, I do talk about it like, I bring it up so often, I'm like the sad guy who still wears his high school football jacket and wants to talk about the big game. It is that pathetic. Um, yes, I was the lead singer of Rainbow Bridge, which, involved, 4 other guys, and then we had a member change at one point, so 5 other dudes.
You had the great Rago brothers.
Well, they were cousins. The Regos were,
Oh,
Mike and
okay.
Jim were cousins. Brian Mell on drums, and then Paul Boyev was the original guitarist, and then he left, and then Chuck came in. I can't remember Chuck's last name, but I hope he's doing well. They were all amazingly talented musicians for high school kids. They were all great, and I think I just had the passion, so they never had the heart to fire me and find a really good singer. I think that's really what it came down to.
How many years or how long were you with them?
It was about a year and a half, and we did some gigs. We did some.
Dances?
We played out a little bit. We did a couple dances, and we did some like local like community events where where they would have different bands play throughout the day. that sort of thing. And again, they were really good. I wasn't. When I listened back to any sort of cassette tape or of it, it was like, Jesus, why did they allow this to continue?
Sam was in some high school bands, right? Sam, what were the names of
Uh,
your bands? Because
oh
Yeah, Sam,
Rainbow
God.
Bridge is pretty great.
named
Um,
after a Jimi Hendrix album, by the way. That's the reason for Rainbow Bridge. Our guitarist was obsessed with Jimi Hendrix.
Huh.
Sam, what were
yeah,
your names?
we didn't even have one. We played one gig at a talent show. It wasn't even a gig then. It was at a talent show, and yeah, that was the last time we played in front of people.
Dude, well,
Jordy Edmonds' band. He was a big Hendrix fan. He actually came out and we played in gas masks. It was exciting. Yeah, it was a power trio, of course. I was playing through a giant 8x10 cab for my bass, and
and
yeah,
now, Sam, let me ask you this: pick or no pick?
no pick.
Attaboy. We're back
That's
on
right.
board, Sam.
Yeah, well, I started playing jazz on a double bass for years before I got into electric. So
Love it.
why would I use a pick?
All right, now let me ask you this: do you play the bass up high, or do you do it? You sling it low?
Up high all the time, man. John Patitucci style.
Oh,
You just
Jesus
got
Christ! He
to.
pulls out Patitucci.
I love
Attaboy.
him. First
Atta
solo record's one of the best fusion ones out there.
Good for you. That we used to fight about this in high school when you'd see the bands and if the bass player had his bass low and playing with a pick, you're like, nope, not gonna watch these guys.
Loser.
Right.
Yeah, John Entwistle never had it low. That should be enough, right?
That's right. And again, I can't play a single instrument. I should have been fired from a band that I was in as not a great singer, but certainly I have opinions on how your band should run itself.
Damn right.
Although I didn't know you played bass, Sam. So I am
Mhm.
starting a band called Transfer of Throne. So I do want you to send me some audio clips so I could see if you're up for it.
Sure, I'll audition. Absolutely.
Zoom audition.
Sam, this will interest you maybe. I have an Ibanez bass not 4 feet away from me that has, not been played more than, 1 minute in the 4 years I've had it.
Oh, but it's beautiful, isn't it?
You know what? And I know, Ibanez is not, one of the top bass makers, but, it looks beautiful sitting there. It looks absolutely beautiful.
It's an art
Yeah, they're
piece.
great.
Why did you
So
have a
listen,
bass if you've only played it 1 minute?
here is the, Sam, again, a long-winded answer. Back in high school when we thought maybe we needed a bass player for the band, I bought a Kramer metal neck bass,
Oh,
and
nice.
which weigh about 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And I actually could play. I wasn't that bad. I wasn't that bad. But the problem was somebody would have to show me, here's how you play this song, and then I could do it. I couldn't really just pick it up on
Mhm.
my own. And so as I got older, I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll revisit the bass. And so 4 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn the bass. We do this event for Never Not Funny does a yearly charity event for Smile Train where we raise money for Smile Train by doing a 12-hour marathon, and we have a house band that plays. And I was like, how great would it be if one year I sit in with the band for one song on bass? That would be really fun for me to
Yeah.
do. So I bought a bass and I said, in one year, I'm going to learn one song so that I could at least play that song. And literally, that dream ended the second I got home, plugged it in, and went, yeah, you know what? I don't think I could do this. So that's why I have it.
What song were you gonna play?
I can't even tell you that. I don't have a
You
clue.
didn't have it.
Prob- um, I don't know, Sam. I wish I could. I know I did Message in a Bottle pretty well back in the day. That was one that I could do.
Back in the day in high school?
Hmm.
Yeah, when I had the Kramer metal neck, I could, that boom, boom, ding, 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 ding. I could do
Yeah,
that one
yeah.
okay. But I don't.
Sting, great bass player.
He is, but that song was at least for the most part was fairly simple. I couldn't do
Mhm.
his other stuff. Murder by Numbers. I could never do or anything like that. By the way, I could barely do Message in a Bottle. I don't know why I'm talking like I probably couldn't do Murder by Numbers, but or Sting's other stuff. But I probably could even pull this off.
Well, so when you were in Rainbow Bridge, you're the funny guy, right? Even in high school, I imagine you were much like you are today.
It was, but if you listened to our stage patter, and I have on these when I found the cassette of us, I'm not saying anything funny, but boy, did I think I was. Yeah, it's
Well,
got
you
all
were
it's got
trying.
the I was trying, and it's got you know the uh, uh, the cadence of funny, but but no words together forming funny.
Yeah,
Um,
we've
but
heard a lot of that over the years, not from you, but from you hear comedians, usually more amateurs, but they sound like they should be funny, but they're not really saying
Right.
anything funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my stage patter between songs. Oh my god, painful to listen to. Painful.
Did were you on any sports teams at Oak Forest High School?
I was on the golf team my freshman and sophomore year, and then did not make the varsity team because the coach, uh, both coaches, Ken Connor and Scott Lois, I'll say it, hated me. They just hated me. They hated that I stood up to them. They hated that I maybe had a smart mouth. And they just, while I was actually a good golfer, I did not make the varsity team because they didn't want me to be anywhere around them.
Well, team spirit.
Yeah,
It's important.
I don't know
Go
if I
Bengals.
go Forest Bengals exactly.
That's one thing we as What's So Funny are known for is specifically guys insistence on knowing all of the guests' high schools and sport team names.
You got to have something,
Well,
Jimmy. You got to have something.
well, you got it. You nailed it. I was also in the back in grade school, the hometown Vikings. I was on the basketball team, which, if you know anything about me, seems insane.
And you hadn't grown to your full height then yet, I bet.
No, I was not all the way up to 5'4.5" yet, guy. I don't know 3'7". I think
What?
that was a case of team spirit. I think they liked that I cared.
Well, you must have had some talent.
No, I'm
You,
not
you
gonna.
had
My
to have
father.
if you were that short on the team.
I'm telling you this, my father would leave work early to come to the games, and he literally came to of all the games, let's say we played 15, 18 games, he saw his son play a total of 5 minutes in one game. That's the truth. I
Hmm.
I was on the bench, and never once did he look down the bench and go, well, literally one time, "All right, Pardo, get in there for O'Brien." One time. One time.
It's because you're a smart mouth. Uh,
Uh, no,
did
it's because I sucked.
these days maybe your dad would have gone to have a word with the coach. Hey, give my son some playing time.
Here's the truth. Here's the truth. It's a 100% true story. We had a game once. This is what, and our actual coach couldn't make it, so we had a guy filling in, a guy by the name of Jack Hallberg. And at halftime, we were not winning. The team was not winning. At halftime, he's giving a pep talk to the starters, and then he looks down the bench and he goes, "And guys like Pardo, Cusack, Pender, you're not ball players. You're here because the coach had to fill out a roster." He literally said that to us. And
Jeez.
then after the game, my dad goes up to him and says, "Hey, I just want to thank you for all the work you do with the kids." And I'm sitting there going, "Dad, this guy just insulted me." And he then spins it. The coach goes, "Yeah, I was just telling Jim at halftime. It's all about practice. You got to just stay in the practice. The more you practice, the better you get." It's like, that's not what you said at all. You said I'm here because of a roster need.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, these memories. I don't know if this has been therapeutic for you this past hour, Jimmy, or not, but we've had a great time talking with you. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day. Is it busy? I don't know. You got plans for the rest of the day?
Today is not busy.
Okay,
I
good.
did everything I needed to this morning, all in preparation for this wonderful call. I apologize for coming off so hot at the top of it with my passion about the term yacht rock.
Sam will
Um,
get over it.
I
Oh,
hope
I
so,
already am.
because boy, do I everything else Sam and I click on, and the idea that he's out there angry at me about something would just keep me up at night.
You good, Sam?
Oh, all good.
Okay, good. We can end this
Yeah.
peacefully. It's been a pleasure, Jimmy. And yeah, fans can go listen to Never Not Funny. You can listen to all of them, thousands of them. And of course, Jimmy's records and tapes on YouTube, or where else can they find that?
No, that's on YouTube. That's at youtube.com/never not funny. Is Jimmy's
Yeah,
record.
and we're gonna keep an eye out for the Canadian bands in a few
Oh.
weeks. Yeah, that's
That'd be
gonna
exciting.
great. Yeah, and hopefully you got some new bands to listen to.
I look forward to it. I've written them all down. I specifically this Transfer of Thrones. That one really sounds hot.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy.